ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So in this particular video, we are going to discuss one of the most important books which has been written by Srila Rupa Goswami. And the name of the book is Nectar of Instruction, which is also called Upadeshamrita in Sanskrit. This book is very important for all the practicing devotees of Krishna. So in the first verse of Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami talks about the importance of controlling the urges of speech, the urges of mind, the urges of anger, and the urges of tongue, belly, and genitals. So let us see what Srila Rupa Goswami says in this first verse of Nectar of Instruction. He says, वाचो वेगं मनस क्रोध वेगं जिह्वा वेगं उदरुपस्थ वेगं एतान् वेगं यो विसहित धीरा सर्वम् अपि मां पृथ्वीं सस्यात्. Vacho vegam. What is vegam? Vegam means force. So vacho vegam. So what we are required to do, what we are supposed to do, that we are required, we are supposed to tolerate the urges of our speech, manasa vegam. We have to tolerate the urges of our mind, krodha vegam. We have to tolerate the urges of our anger, jibha vegam. Again we have to tolerate the urges of our tongue, udar upastha vegam. That is, we have to tolerate the urges of our belly, the urges of our genitals. And Srila Rupa Goswami further says that if a person, if an individual, if a practicing devotee has been successful in controlling these six urges, then he becomes completely purified. He becomes so controlled, so purified that he is considered to be eligible to go to the entire world and make disciples. And unless and until we have control over these six urges, we will keep on struggling in our devotional life. And this is the reason why Srila Rupa Goswami has focused so much on the importance of controlling these six urges. So in this particular video, we will be just focusing on one particular urge, and that is the urge to speak. That is, how to tolerate the urge to speak. In fact, we have to tolerate all these six urges. Without tolerating all these six urges, to become successful in devotional life is impossible. So let us see one by one how we can tolerate these urges. In this particular video, we will focus on tolerating the urges of our speech. So the first verse of Nectar of Instruction asks us to tolerate the six urges. And the first verse of the first instruction is Vacho Vegam. That is, controlling the urge to speak or tolerating the urge to speak. So what we are supposed to do? Should we stop speaking? From today onwards, are we going to take a kind of a maun vrat? We will put a finger on our lips and decide that from today onwards, I am not going to speak at all. Is it practical? Is it possible? And is it what Srila Rupa Goswami is trying to teach us? Definitely not. He is not telling us to stop speaking. Then what actually Srila Rupa Goswami is teaching us here? He teaches us that controlling the urge to speak means controlling the urge to speak on subject matters which is not related to Krishna, the Supreme Lord. The purpose of our life is to get attracted to Krishna. The purpose of our life is to practice devotion to Krishna. The purpose of our life is to get attracted, get attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. And how can this be possible? This is possible when we are able to control different urges. So the first urge is controlling the urge to speak. So we should not speak anything which is not related to Krishna, because as soon as we begin speaking something which is not related to Krishna, our mind immediately goes and focuses on that particular subject matter. And when we are focusing on a particular thing which is not related to Krishna, it means that we are doing something which is going to take us away from Krishna. So this is the reason Srila Rupa Goswami teaches us that we should control the urge to speak. Srila Prabhupada very beautifully explains in the purport of this verse. He explains the different types of speeches and what are the consequences of those speeches. The very first example which Srila Prabhupada gives is that of the speech of a materialistic person. Who is a materialistic person? One who is not interested in Krishna, one who is interested in materialistic things, one who is interested in worldly things, who just wants to enjoy this world being away from Krishna. So the speech of the worldly people, speech of the materialistic people is compared to the speech of a toad, a croaking of a toad. So we all have experienced, we all have heard the sound of the toad, right? Especially during the rainy season, we hear so many toads keep on croaking. Toad means small frogs. And when the toad croaks, so what happens? Who gets attracted? The snake gets attracted. And what happens when a snake approaches a toad? The snake devours toad. The snakes kill toads. The snake eats toad. So when a toad is speaking, the toad might think that he is speaking something very nice, he is speaking something very wonderful. But the toad is so fool, the toad is so ignorant that the toad does not know that his speech is attracting his death. Similarly, the worldly, and like a toad, we all are foolish, we all are ignorant, because people in this world keep on discussing on topics which are not at all related to Krishna. And what is going to happen? A day will come when death will take us away to some different destination, and we do not know what is going to our future destination. If we are not with Krishna, if you are not thinking about Krishna, if you have not become a pure devotee of Krishna, then obviously we are going to keep on migrating in this particular material world. In 8.4 million species of life, we will keep on continuing to migrate again and again. And that is not the purpose of human form of life. So we see people in this world waste so much time. I have also wasted, you have also wasted, so many people keep on wasting. Even after coming to devotional life, we all have some inclination towards the materialistic life, and so we get obsessed with materialistic news. Now just see, is it not true that in this world people are completely obsessed with news which are related to politics, news which are related to movies, news which are related to sports, news which are related to things which are not at all related to Krishna? Just take an example. Currently, the entire country is obsessed with the news of Riya Chakravarti, Sushant Singh Rajput. Whether Sushant Singh Rajput, whether he committed suicide, whether he died with some other different means, whether he was killed, whether he was forced to commit suicide. So fine, there are competent authorities who can take care of those things. But people like you, people like me, and people, all these people in this world, if we are obsessed with this kind of people, with this kind of news, then what is going to our future destination? Krishna has said it very clearly in the scriptures that at the time of death, if we think about Krishna, we are going to get Krishna. If we are not going to think about Krishna, we are not going to get Krishna, but we will keep on migrating again and again in this material world. So those of us, those people who are obsessed with the news of Sushant Singh Rajput, Riya Chakravarti, so what is going to happen? Suppose that someone is on the bed, deathbed, dying. He is thinking about all those kind of news. So what is going to happen at the time of death? He will remember Riya Chakravarti, and in next life he will become a dog of Riya Chakravarti, or a dog in some other place where Sushant Singh Rajput has taken birth. So is this the purpose of this human form of life? We waste tons and tons of time on social media. Facebook is there, Twitter is there, Instagram is there, Pinterest is there, and what not, TikTok is there. Although TikTok is not available these days, but many video applications are there. So we keep on discussing so many subject matters on these social medias. And when we are discussing, what is the topic of discussion? Are we discussing about Krishna? Most probably not. Are we wasting time? Definitely we are wasting time. And when we are wasting time, it means that we are wasting our own life. Srila Rupa Goswami, in further verses we will discuss, he says that 24 hours in a day we should be completely absorbed in chanting Krishna's glory, absorbed in thinking about the wonderful pastimes of Krishna. If we are not doing so, then we are simply wasting the life which we have got. The human life is compared to a boat which can help us to cross this materialistic world and reach to our destination, that is to the spiritual world, that is to the abode of Krishna. Now, when we are not speaking about Krishna, or when we are not reading about Krishna, or when we are not hearing about Krishna, then obviously we are going to speak something which is not related to Krishna. So that is why we have to be very much cautious. All of us are practicing devotees, all of us are sadhakas. So all the sadhakas and all who are desirous to attain Krishna in this life, for all of us, for you, for me, it is very much important that we have to make a very strategic planning. We have to plan our life in such a way that we spend more and more time in things which are related to Krishna. In fact, the talk of the Mayavadis are those people who wrongly interpret the Vedic literatures, and they think that they can become God. And this is the reason it is said that even the speech of the Mayavadis. So Mayavadis, basically the problem with Mayavadis is that for an ignorant person, those who want to practice devotional life but they do not have the complete understanding of the Vedic literatures, so these Mayavadis, they also have the dress of a devotee, but their purpose is not to render service to Krishna. Their purpose is not to become a devotee of Krishna. Their purpose is to become another Krishna. They want to become God. So these kind of so-called spiritual people, we have to keep a distance from such people. In fact, we should not associate with such people. Even online also, if their YouTube videos are available, if their books are available, then we should not associate with such kind of people, because these people is going to contaminate our consciousness and they are going to take us away from Krishna. So we have to be very cautious about such people. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that we all have read it, right? There are so many volumes and volumes of novels are available in the market. And what they will discuss, the novels will discuss, obviously they will not going to discuss something which is related to Krishna. They will discuss about the worldly things. Some kind of novels are there, some storytelling, some fairy tales are there. So when we read it, it is simply what we are going to do. We are simply wasting our time. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that we should not even read such kind of novels, because it's simply a wastage of our time. Because the problem is that when we read those kind of stuff, so our mind get stuffed with those kind of materialistic thoughts, and we speak what is there in our mind. So in our mind, the information is such that those information has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, then we are going to speak on that particular subject matters only. So that is why we have to keep ourselves away from such kind of literatures. So now what we can do means, what is the best way by which we can control the urge to speak? As we have discussed earlier, the urge to speak, the tolerating the urge to speak does not mean that we have to stop speaking. We have to take Maun Vrat. We see that many people take this vow of Maun Vrat. They decide that today I am not going to speak anything. And this is the way they think that this is could be one of the way by which they can control their urge to speak. So that could be fine. That could help us in some extent. But the best way to control the urge to speak is that to engage our speech in something which is related to Krishna. So one of the best ways to chant the beautiful holy names of Krishna. So we should keep on again and again chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The more we chant the name of Krishna, the more we are associating with Krishna. So chanting the mantra meditation, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if we are regularly chanting, if we are constantly chanting, if we are daily chanting, so this is also going to purify our speech, and this is also going to help us to tolerate the urge to speak something which is not related to Krishna. Along with that, whatever time which is available with us, we should try to glorify Krishna's wonderful names, Krishna's wonderful forms, his transcendental qualities, and so many pastimes Krishna has done in this world. What is the reason that Krishna did all these pastimes? So what was his need? What was the need of Krishna to descend in this material world and do all this kind of pastimes? He did it for you and he did it for me. Why he enacted so many wonderful pastimes? So that we can keep on constantly meditating on these beautiful pastime of Krishna. And when we keep on meditating on these pastimes of Krishna, then we will get absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna, absorbed in Krishna's wonderful leelas, Krishna's wonderful pastimes. Along with Krishna, we should also glorify the devotees of Krishna. So many wonderful devotees of Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself appeared, he is Lord Krishna himself, but he appeared as a devotee of Krishna just to glorify how great the devotees of Krishna are. The Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswamis, all the great Goswamis are there. Our Guru Parampara is there, Prabhupada is there. So many wonderful devotees of in ISKCON are there. So we should keep on glorifying their wonderful divine qualities, because as soon as we glorify their wonderful divine qualities, Krishna becomes so much pleased with us, and we will be also be able to get those divine qualities. Along with that, whenever we have time, so instead of reading about Riya Chakravarti, reading about Sushant Singh Rajput, reading in politics who did what, who did something, this thing or that thing about sports, and also simply we should avoid, means whatever is required, but most of our time we should spend on reading Krishna conscious literature. We have Bhagavad Gita, we have Srimad Bhagavatam, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita. In fact, these three books only if we can read, so it is going to consume lots and lots of our time. Srila Prabhupada has written so many books that even if we spend our entire life in studying that book, so this life will we will we will see that it is we are not having sufficient time to complete those books. And Prabhupada kept on writing again and again, so that we should not divert our mind towards something else, but we should focus our mind on reading on topics which is related to Krishna. So these are the 4 steps, so easy steps. We should chant the name of Krishna, we should keep on glorifying the Krishna's name, form, transcendental qualities and his sweet pastimes. We should also glorify the devotees of Krishna, and we should utilize all our time in reading wonderful Krishna conscious literatures, which is going to take us towards Krishna. So the more we hear about Krishna, the more we read about Krishna, the more we speak about Krishna, we become more and more enlightened. And when we become more and more enlightened, we will automatically detach ourselves from things which draws our mind away from Krishna. So we will get attached towards those things which brings us closer to Krishna. And when we are inundated, when we are flooded with those information which is related to Krishna, then obviously we are going to speak about those things which are related to Krishna. And this is one of the best way by which we can control our urge to speak. We can control our or we can tolerate the urge to speak. So what we have to tolerate? We have to tolerate the urge to speak non-Krishna conscious topics, that we have to tolerate. And when we are doing that, then it is going to bring us closer to Krishna. So this is what Srila Rupa Goswami says, and this very first verse of the first verse of Nectar of Instruction. So we also try to do so. So although I am speaking on this topic, but I am also struggling with myself, so I will pray at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. I will pray at the lotus feet of all the devotees so that they can bless me, so that I can also start practicing this particular principle, that I should also start tolerating the urge to speak non-Krishna conscious topics. So I'm very grateful to all of you for watching. So thanks all for watching. And if this video has helped you to come closer to Krishna, then please do like, do comment, and do subscribe the channel. Have a happy Krishna conscious day. Hare Krishna. Thanks again all for watching.